From a surprisingly consistent 80s soundtrack to familiar family struggles, there are plenty of things in the Super Mario Bros. Movie that you'll only understand if you've been down Rainbow Road a time or two. Jack Black's turn as Bowser has audiences everywhere falling in love with the grumpy Koopa, but could the villain's anger hide something more emotional?
Not sure if you know who I am, but I'm about to rule the world.
Kids will definitely pick up on the audaciousness of Bowser's plan to kidnap and marry Princess Peach, but they may not realize that his plan masks a lot of hidden pain. Bowser wants to marry Peach because he believes that a happy union will solve all of his problems, which seem to involve his self-esteem and perception of himself. This misguided line of thinking is definitely something we can all relate to as adults. We've all been there at some point. Seeing Mario and Peach interacting, Bowser suddenly becomes enraged, yelling that Mario has ruined his chance to experience happiness. While the outburst could be related to losing out on an opportunity to rule the Mushroom Kingdom, adults will recognize that Bowser feels the burn of being rejected by someone he apparently cares about. At the very least, he seems to really think this wedding is the only thing that could have cured his depression. It's not entirely clear why Bowser feels so adamant about marrying Peach, but grown-ups likely know what it feels like to be looked over in favor of another suitor. It stings, but it's not a good enough reason to destroy an entire kingdom.
Now who's gonna stop me?
The Super Mario Bros. Movie is filled with reinterpretations of classic tunes from the Nintendo games, many of which have been fully orchestrated to match the movie's epic scale. Being able to pick out things like the classic World 1-2 theme is a genuine joy for fans of all ages. But some of the younger folks in the audience might not notice a common thread between the movie's many needle drops. Like much of Illumination's other work, the Super Mario Bros. Movie features several classic tracks that underscore the action throughout. This has been a divisive element of the movie, with some arguing that the movie could be stronger without these songs, and others thinking they're inconsistently deployed. The gamer Stacey Henley noted, "I'm not sure a-ha's Take on Me fits with the Mario Kart montage, but it was strangely charming to see Mario and Luigi run through a makeshift platforming section of New York to the Beastie Boys' No Sleep Till Brooklyn." But what the kids might not realize is that pretty much all of the movie's songs are from the 80s, the decade in which Mario made his debut. This sort of well-curated nostalgia adds a lot to a movie's authenticity, and it's very likely that anyone who grew up in or around this time period was pleasantly surprised by the track list. It's worth noting that the only outlier here is AC/DC's Thunderstruck, which just barely missed the 80s. It was recorded in January 1990, kicking off the new decade with a bang. For a movie made with kids in mind, the Super Mario Bros. Movie is loaded with adults struggling to earn the approval of their parents. When the story opens, the titular brothers are basically begging their dad to take them seriously, and he ends up hurting their feelings by doubting their abilities, and barely even looking at them in the eyes while he does so. Meanwhile, Donkey Kong's grandstanding in the heat of battle is revealed to be a result of his desire to make his own father proud of him. Some reviewers have dinged the Super Mario Bros. Movie for being surprisingly violent for a kid's movie.
Was that too dark?
Yes!
Sorry.
For instance, Bowser melts the skin off a Koopa at one point, while Mario and Donkey Kong's first brawl looks exceedingly painful for the both of them, especially once power-ups get involved. But there are two action set pieces that stick out for featuring characters who sacrifice their lives to try and destroy Mario and his pals. At the end of the big Mario Kart chase scene on Rainbow Road, the Koopa General loses his temper and becomes a dreaded blue shell, rocketing towards Mario and DK's kart and destroying the track. After this explosive act, the General is never seen again. Considering Mario and Donkey Kong barely survived the fall and getting swallowed by a giant eel, it's safe to say that the General didn't intend on coming back from this attack. Needless to say, such an act of impulsive self-sacrifice is surprisingly dark, considering the overall context of the movie. But even more existentially horrifying is the concept of Banzai Bill. Launched by Bowser as a last-ditch effort to destroy the Mushroom Kingdom, Banzai Bill is a sentient being who only exists to destroy itself and others. In the early games, it's pretty easy to write these things off as having a face just painted on the side. But the Super Mario Bros. Movie explicitly shows Banzai Bill having an emotional reaction to Mario's interference, and then detonating a few minutes later. The kids in the audience might not think twice about the slapstick violence in the movie, but older viewers may take pause at the implications of both of these apparent character deaths.